All right, moving on to a question about choice. One of our questions was about barriers to abortion access. And you said that you would not oppose barriers to abortion access.
Not at all. No,
Okay.
no barriers. I am so pro-abortion that I would, okay, I'd have to start, I believe the world is overpopulated. We're over 6.8 billion people now. The first person whose door I knocked on tonight, I was canvassing before I came here, gave me a book that she had written, that she signed for me, because she believes the same thing. Having an abortion, I don't believe in encouraging people to have abortions that don't want abortions, but I believe in subsidizing abortions. I believe in, there's actually, it's been in the news a couple of times in the last few weeks. There's a new procedure, it's a sponge, that would prevent a woman from ever being impregnated. And it's a simple, easy procedure. I would give tax deductions for people that accede to doing something like that.
I think the issue here is that I think the answer that you wanted to give was yes, that you would oppose barriers to abortion rather than no. I think that's what you were trying to say. And so we'll change the question here online to reflect what we think you just said.
Well, I'd like to see how that comes out.
Well, instead of no, we're going to change it to yes.
I would oppose.
You would, yes, you would oppose barriers.
Oh, yes, I could know.
Yes.
That's
why we wanted to ask the question.
Do you want to see if there's any audience questions? I'll ask the next question. Okay, so another question we asked was about our welfare system, and you said it was a tough question. So each session there are some proposals to reform our welfare session. Some are about making it harder to get welfare, and some are about changing the system so we don't create perverse incentives, so that we're focused on getting people out of poverty. So we understand that, I'm not saying you have to have every answer on everything. What we're looking for, I think, is what are your values? If you were evaluating a specific proposal, what questions would you ask? What would your priorities be in terms of our social welfare programs?
I think there is, for some people, a dependence on social welfare. Once they get into the system, they get comfortable. The more kids they have, the higher their income is, even though the extra income isn't enough to support extra kids. As I said in my answer, that's a tough question. I want people to be productive, but I want them to be productive in ways that they want to be productive. I don't want them on an assembly line counting eggs, or there's some ridiculous jobs that would drive me crazy and probably drive people crazy that do those jobs. But I am very much in favor of, and Barack Obama and his administration are saying the same thing right now, turning the economy more towards a green economy with renewable energy sources, better insulation. One of the things I mentioned in my questionnaire was I would be in favor of adopting the stretch code for the entire. Well, I'm getting off of welfare now.
You are a little bit, yes. Okay.
Anyway, I'd like to employ a lot of people weatherizing houses. It's inexpensive. It saves a lot of energy. I want to discourage people from going on welfare, but if they have to go on welfare, there was one vote that Jeff Sanchez took requiring women that have children from the ages of 2 to 6 to get a job or lose welfare. He voted in favor of requiring them to get a job or lose welfare if they have children from the ages of 2 and 6. I wouldn't go that far.
Great, thank you. Any audience questions? Okay, all right, so we're going to go back there. I've got one last moderator question. We'll have time for a couple audience questions. So there was one question around transparency in government that you didn't actually answer, so I wanted to give you a chance to answer it. The question was, what are the top 3 specific steps you would suggest for improving accountability and transparency of state government? It was 1, 2, 3, yeah.
You know, that's one of the questions I would need to be in the legislature to be able to answer better. I know that there's a law of backdoor trading, negotiations. In fact, I think the press is involved in hiding a lot of that stuff. For instance, the pension system in the state of Massachusetts, I'd like to see a good evaluation of just how much, what percentage of the budget that's taking, and what the projections are of what it's going to take if we keep doing that in the future. I think we need a lot more transparency, and I think the press has been a little slow in helping that transparency come to be.
So if you do have an honest question, I'm going to let him ask the question himself, just because I think it'll clarify it a little bit.
Yes,
so
sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Herman, would you support the requirement for probation, parole, corrections, and judges to implement evidence-based practices to reduce recidivism?
I certainly would. In fact, I am not happy with the core reform that took place. For instance, using scientific evidence-based practices, we should lower the number of years from 5 to 3 if you have not committed any crimes after you get off probation from a misdemeanor, and from 10 to 7, because using scientifically based information, after 3 years, if you haven't committed a crime, if you finished your probationary period from a misdemeanor, you're as likely to commit another crime as anybody else. 3 years. And the longer you keep somebody from being able to get a job or housing or scholarship because you've got a CORI record, the more likely they're going to commit a crime. The same is true with felonies. I would reduce the time from 10 years to 7 years if you've committed a felony and have been off probation for that amount of time.
All right, another audience question. There's a proposal in the ballot to slash...
Oh, wait, one minute. And the CORI reform doesn't go into effect until the year 2012. I mean, come on, let's hurry it up. It's true. I would hurry that up.
All right, there's a proposal on the ballot to slash the sales tax, which would decimate the state budget. On the questionnaire, it seems you either don't know or no response.
So I'm sorry. I would not lower the sales tax.
Not lower the sales tax.
So in the same debate that I've been referring to that I had with Jeff Sanchez about a week ago, I said I wouldn't lower the taxes that we have now, but I'm not ready. Listen, you don't know. The federal government on January 1st, 2012 is going to raise taxes in a wide variety, because these tax exemptions and they're going to affect everybody. I was talking to my accountant about it. I've got about 4 pages of taxes that are going to go up that the federal government is going to be imposing. And for the state to not take that into consideration and impose additional taxes themselves in the dire economy that we're in, I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon of raising taxes.
We'll go ahead and change your thing from no response to no on that one. Is that okay?
Yeah, no. Listen, I get these questionnaires every day.
No, that's okay. That's fine. That's why we hold the forum, to give you a chance to talk about your answers.
Thank you.
Second question, it says you didn't know whether or not you would support the repeal of the 40B state affordable housing law. What is keeping you from making a decision? What more information do you need?
I want to know what the situation is now. I want to know where I love affordable housing. I think it adds a diversity to any neighborhood that every neighborhood needs. But I just wasn't willing to say, let's put in some more affordable housing in Brookline. They have an affordable housing project there. They have several in the Jamaica Plain area. So I don't know. I wouldn't put in more where there's already enough. I'd look for, I don't know, you don't want affordable housing in a rural area where there aren't jobs, where the people that are going to be living there. I just really need to know, as I said, I'm not an incumbent. I haven't been embroiled in the budget process, and I wasn't going to answer what I thought was politically correct without knowing what I was talking about.